Now, say what you will about the GameCube.
I miss the Walmart rollback guy.
But let me just tell you something. Game, good. Game, bad.
You messed it up.
No, I didn't.
We've lost
So
it.
the point is...
Welcome to the Power Up Bros podcast, where we sit around and talk about sometimes video games and all the time games, and some of the time, oh please no stop. Welcome back. If you're just now joining us for the first time, welcome here for the first time.
I like your wording because it sounds like we talk about sometimes video games. Video games about sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes we talk about video games. Sometimes we talk about... Oh no! Don't do it! Please don't.
We talk about that more than video games.
I think we talk about that more.
And on occasion, we are known to talk about emulation and software library.
Every once in a while,
especially illegal.
One of us will mention about illegal software, which
about crime,
which I do have something to say about.
No.
I do have something to say about emulation.
So it's every podcast episode.
Correct.
Literally every
show ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quentin has something to say about emulation. How we been the past week, guys? We all good? We all good?
Not too bad.
I can't complain.
Yeah.
I have many complaints, and I always will.
Well, it's finally over, guys.
Yeah.
It's over.
We can finally relax. I don't think anybody expected George Sears to win the presidential election.
No,
it came
that
out
was
of
shocking.
nowhere.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Well, I didn't even realize that he was like a candidate, and then
I hadn't heard.
Yeah,
anything.
I mean,
But
I obviously knew.
Well, I still voted for him, but I was like, I had heard about him like a week ago, and I don't even know why. It was like positronically, I was
the
affected
most
by the
writings.
I think they were trying to make us. Most write-ins in history.
It's
by
funny.
Far.
It's funny because like I knew he was running, but then like
so many write-ins. People said it was an AI.
Yeah. Like the video.
It's almost like that was a joke I was about to tell.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
No jokes, Ethan.
Well, no.
So
I
sorry.
mean, no jokes. This is serious. George Sears is a serious.
Yeah, he
so
is.
It was crazy. Obviously I voted for him. I was glad that he won.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to one of his rallies.
Okay.
They had a meet and greet.
Right.
He said something to me.
Tell me.
It ipterduped my prostate in a way that I don't even think that Hideo Kojima did with his video games.
Right. Okay, go for it.
He shook my hand.
Right.
He looked me in the face. He said, how much he appreciated my support and all of that. And then he said, by the way, Jack, I killed your parents. I was the one that killed your parents. And I was ipterduped.
Yeah.
And I still voted for him.
Right.
He killed my
You hated
parents.
your parents.
I didn't like him.
I was at a rally and they had the greatest thing where they were just handing out free anyone who brought their kid, like he's like kissing the babies, and he would always leave them a little plane ticket to Africa with each one of them.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
What a nice
Get
guy.
out there, and see the world.
His
beautiful, politically stable Africa.
I mean, his Back to Liberia campaign.
Really?
Amazing.
I thought about going.
Yeah.
Apparently, he only wanted people under the age of 12.
Right.
That was an odd part of the sort of stipulation. But,
both sides seemed really happy with the outcome.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be okay.
Both sides were happy with it.
Yeah.
There was no political unrest.
I heard
pretty
people of all
polarizing.
kinds chanting "Lolly Lou Lay Low," which is
And
beautiful.
yes,
That's beautiful.
Yes,
Beautiful.
it was nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Good.
I'm glad that it's
Unrelated, I got a job on that oil rig out there.
Oh, really?
I officially
Wow.
registered as a Sons of Libertarian.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's
That's
great.
nice.
Wow, good
Wow.
for you.
That's
Yeah,
really
good
nice.
for you.
So not much. I mean, I don't think it's that exciting.
Right.
To be
I
honest.
signed up for the
really.
Navy.
It's pretty boring.
I'm a part of the Evil Tentacle Robot Project. It's a suit that lets you use Doc Ock arms to fight
That's
child
pretty great.
soldiers and adult soldiers
That's
as
pretty
well.
great. Well, sorry for all the boring stuff,
Yeah,
guys.
We'll get back to video
stuff,
games.
sorry.
We'll get back
Yeah.
to. Sorry for all the non-video game related.
Well, the election's over,
wait,
so we don't have to
Ethan,
really talk about it anymore.
Did you say that we should get
God.
to the news?
Yeah.
Guys, if you want to help out a teeny itty bitty baby channel like us, a little tiny, we're still growing. We need to drink the subscriber milk for our bones to grow. I'm not leaving that in.
Yeah, we gotta cut that.
Leave it in.
If you guys want to support us, please subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you think of the podcast.
Don't do that.
Don't listen to him.
And
He's
sign
Fight
up.
the
actively-
system. Delete your YouTube account.
He's the cancer that's trying to kill us.
And also sign up
delete
for our
it.
Patreon that we do not have presently.
It's on the way.
We
Actually-
actually have some cool stuff to announce very soon.
Yeah.
And the more subscribers we get, the faster we get to that cool stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
Because I'm excited about it. We've been
small-
talking. If you liked Harrison on the last episode, if you like the direction the pod's kind of going in, give us a like, give us a
here's
subscribe.
and
We're
here's
still
a little,
small enough to where we read the comments.
Can you
yeah,
believe
we
that?
read all of them.
Well, you guys do.
Stevie Meeks, we see you and we love you.
Okay, Stevie Meeks, I do read your comments. I ignore
Yeah, he
all
doesn't read
the
any
I
other
fax
than
them
that.
to you.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Ethan sends them on my
So
fax
any support
machine.
you can give would be great. Share it with a friend who likes idiots talking.
Share it with your friends, your family, your reverend, your rabbi, your school teacher.
Yep.
Share it with write your representative and call your representative and say, we would like them to speak in support of the Power Up Bros podcast
Yeah.
and George Sears.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if
We're
you-
big George
yeah.
Sears fans.
Buy
You
a
guys
t-shirt.
couldn't guess.
We all
Yeah.
voted for George Sears
We all
on this
voted for George
podcast.
Sears.
Guys,
Okay.
as of recording this, the Nintendo investor meeting came and went, and
Yep.
wouldn't you know it?
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Not a thing.
But the
Nothing.
Switch
I was right.
successor is being announced in 2 weeks, as always.
As always.
As always.
We're
No,
perpetually
it's
2 weeks
It's
away.
always tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like r/tomorrow is a Nintendo subreddit
Uh-huh.
about
Yeah.
Yeah.
announcements not happening.
No, so we did get a little bit of something in this. Furukawa, the president, he said that they have not changed their plans to announce the Switch 2.
Uh-huh.
So they have a plan of when it's going to be announced, and whatever that date is, he's like, we didn't change
the
it.
day after Christmas.
Also,
like
we
as soon
don't-
as the holidays are
We
over.
don't care about you dumb investors.
Yeah.
You're going to give us money no matter what.
No.
We're just updating you on
Yeah.
some things that we've
The
done.
date has not changed, and
You're
the date
lucky.
is tomorrow every day.
Yeah,
every day.
every day.
Every
We'll see you
day.
tomorrow.
That if you were watching the last episode, the count the mysterious Switch 2 countdown website is a big clown. They've changed. They went
Which is
all
what
the
I
way
said.
down. They counted down to 0, and then just put 13 up, and it's now counting down 13 days. It's literally just to get people to click on it. Like
Yeah.
they made a big
respect
deal. So
Ubisoft.
ooh,
No.
they're on fire.
Are they still a video game company?
Ubisoft makes me hard. Hard with anger.
Oh my. That's not getting.
That's staying in.
It's out.
Ubisoft makes me hard with anger. And I don't appreciate, as a fan, and you know how I respect the fans, how Ubisoft makes decisions that I don't like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, woke
Right.
few-
DEI decisions. that you
Woke
don't like,
DEI, Biden DEI,
Yeah.
Hideo Kojima Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did something which upset me so bad.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you recall, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 years ago, there was a pretty big news article you can find about Ubisoft where it says Ubisoft president says that he plans to make blockchain games, which
Yeah,
use, blockchain
Like
purchasable
everybody
tokens.
said they were gonna, like Square Enix sold off a bunch of stuff saying
Yeah,
they were gonna do it,
right,
and then we're
right.
like, this is a
Investor
terrible
pleasing.
idea.
Tactics, yeah.
right. So they have now announced that it's coming out this year.
The blockchain.
The blockchain.
Oh
blockchain.
God.
It's a game. I think it's called Champions, and it's an NFT game. And they are releasing this when NFTs are at their lowest profitability since
Ever,
their beginning.
Right.
Who could have foreseen that?
Now, let me get this straight. Ubisoft, woke DEI, Biden DEI, Hideo Kojima, Metal Gear Solid.
Of
Right.
course.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
Trying to make it impossible to edit. you.
they say we're gonna release a blockchain game,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then they keep their word.
Oh.
Fans are furious. They say,
yeah.
Ubisoft, we hate you. We don't like you or anything you do.
when a company literally tells you who they are and what they're going
Here's
to do,
my
believe
point.
them.
Now,
yeah,
a
take it-
while
take their
ago,
word for it.
a few podcasts back, I mentioned that the fans are the problem
Ugh.
because Ubisoft told you.
I knew you were gonna immediately renege on the idea that
Yeah.
fans are
Ubisoft
are
told
okay.
you that they are the biggest SOBs in this sphere,
Yeah.
and then they decided to be honest
Yeah.
and follow through, and now everybody's really mad at them.
Everybody's mad.
I mean, like if you say like I'm gonna
for your family, and then you
No.
carry that out, I'm still gonna be
I'm
mad
still
at you.
mad at
No,
you,
no.
right.
But this is the reason that it bothers me is because Marcus Aurelius said that if you become angry at an evil man for being evil, then you are insane because you knew what to expect from them.
It is. Someone once said it is crying out against the thunderhead for being loud. Is that like a giant storm rolls in and it's loud? That's its nature. They're like a super greedy company that's made nothing but bad decisions.
Yes.
We all saw the horrible like Rayman show they made, his appearance in Captain Laser Fox or whatever the heck that thing was.
Terrible.
We all know who they are.
Weird
They wear no
zombification.
masks.
We know what their game is.
We know exactly what Ubisoft is up to, so I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that they're following through with their worst ideas.
Nor am I angry, nor have I bought a Ubisoft game in a decade.
No.
Perfect. But anyways, that's some news that people are talking about on.
No, that's
online.
true. Ubisoft is kind of going through a terrible.
My
phase.
news for this week is very small. So where should we sandwich that?
Go
in?
for it.
Do we
Go.
end on small
Go.
news, or do we?
No, go. This is a perfect time.
As always, forever, every time they do it, I will mention this on the news. Is that Enshrouded
this
showed
is
off their
good,
new
yeah.
update, and it looks
good?
phenomenal.
It looks really good.
They've added weather system to the whole game.
Okay.
The new zone is all ice themed. It's very Skyrim-esque. They added an ability where you can now
Ice theme.
It's like all ice themed.
like a snow
It's like
biome.
snow biomes and
Oh,
like
a
a new
biome.
ice added. They added an ability where the grappling hook, which was mostly for moving around, can now have a combat feature where it can pull small enemies or flying enemies to you, or you can pull yourself to giants.
Cool.
And they
Which
showed
one,
off
too?
that they added NPCs to fill your villages, which is huge. They even have like routes where they'll like walk around like tending gardens and things.
That'll help it feel alive.
You can now tame all of the animals in the game. You can now get 6 breeds of dogs and 4 breeds of cats.
Cool.
And there's now animal husbandry as well added in that. So there's baby versions of all of the animals.
Wait, you can marry animals in the game?
This isn't
Just like
this isn't
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
No,
this is like Pokemon.
No.
Oh, you're talking about something
That
else.
was last episode.
Yes.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, no,
I get mixed
no.
up.
Not
Yeah.
animal
Right. Continue with what you're
wifery.
saying.
It's not animal
Oh,
wifery. It's
okay,
animal
gotcha.
husbandry.
Yeah, husbandry.
Yeah.
They also showed they showed what was last there was one more thing they showed but now I can't
It's
remember
so
because
much.
Jumped
That's
in
a
it.
lot of stuff.
They showed so much.
It was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Dynamic weather system.
yep. And it's
I think you
massive.
mentioned the weather system.
Every time
You
they
did.
update this game, it was already my favorite. It's already my favorite survival crafter that's ever been made. And every single time they update it, it's like they were releasing a full new game worth of content.
It's your favorite survival crafter that's ever been made. They haven't even finished making it.
It's not even done.
It's
Yeah.
not even done.
They
That's really
nailed it so hard.
How
Yeah,
do you
they
feel like
really
the game's
did.
going to be a console game, or is it going to get?
They already
stuck
said
on-
it. They already said it was. They said
Oh,
that
okay.
like once they have
Yeah.
a more stable version for their. They said the full release will still have some updates after it. The full release is mostly just going to be the full map, and they've already mentioned that their goal when the full release is to simultaneously release it on
consoles.
consoles. And they said Switch, but then they kind of also hedged a little bit about like, well, maybe Switch 2 now.
Yeah.
And so console release is in the future. They just don't want to be doing massive updates for consoles.
Right.
Okay.
But
That's
the
great
new
news.
update, you go check it out. You go to the Enshrouded YouTube channel and check it out. It looks so good.
That's exciting. Hopefully
it's
they
really
added
exciting.
better Steam Deck support
Mhm.
because I that's my gaming PC rig is a Steam Deck, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
Get a better
I'm
rig.
noticing, Devin, that some of your news was something I was going to bring up as well.
well, then you bring it up because we can share. I'm gonna bring up Nintendo released a music app for
Yep.
Android
Yep.
and iOS.
Oh, yeah.
That was what I was going to bring up.
Oh, whoops.
You brought
Well,
up,
no, you talk about it then.
you brought up the one thing which I was going to say. Do you remember what I said about Alarmo?
Yeah.
Which was that
It was a
Nintendo
great idea.
is the
Which
worst
Batman
company.
villain is that?
Nintendo is
right.
the worst company in the world.
Yeah.
Nintendo released a music
how you
app
feel.
that
Right.
that requires Nintendo online service functionality.
That is interesting.
just like
yeah.
their alarm clock.
Yeah.
And it's a Spotify ripoff app, right?
Right.
When Nintendo could have, hear me out, just become a Spotify partner
Ridiculous.
and released their music
Ridiculous.
and have made significantly more money because I have Spotify because it's quite convenient.
Yeah.
I also have every song that Nintendo has ever released on any game in their entire history through a thing called the internet.
What do you think their version of Urine Wrapped will be called?
The urine rap?
The year-end rap.
Urine Wrapped.
Oh,
like the-
year-end rap. I thought you said urine rap.
That is what
is
the
their
whole
version?
app is the urine
What do you
rap.
think their version of the urine wrap? McDonald's latest
Yeah, the McDonald's
culinary
ad.
creation.
disaster.
No,
So Nintendo
Excretion.
releases this app that is
it's the first like official. It's interesting because the frustrating thing, as someone who listens to a lot of video game music, is that there's these channels like I think it was called Gilva Sun or something. Anyways, they upload like really high quality Nintendo music, mostly Nintendo video game music, and then they get DMCA'd by Nintendo and all kinds of other companies to take their music down. And the frustrating thing is I want to listen to this music and these companies have no official way to do it. And it's so frustrating. And so Nintendo finally, this is the first time Nintendo's given you an official way to listen to their music through an app.
Yeah.
yeah, but other
and it's
companies
strange it took this long.
Other companies don't need an app.
No,
You know
that's
why?
True. That's true.
Because
Some
they
do.
put their music either on to a pre-existing app.
Yeah, Nintendo was
or-
never going to do
Or
that.
they
though.
just don't take down everybody who re-uploads them. There's 1,000 companies.
Some companies are really
that
good
are
about
good about
not
that.
takedowns, and then others like
No,
Nintendo.
but the Nintendo-
Square is
and-
great about like every time, whenever they release a Final Fantasy game, whenever the album goes live, it goes up on YouTube Music
Yeah.
as well.
See, that's what I'm talking about, is that a lot of these companies are just better about it. But now that Nintendo is releasing this app, it's going to mean even more of these DMCA takedowns.
I don't
and
know how
more
you could
strictly.
have more.
Yeah,
because,
I'm not
like,
sure it
they're
will.
so-
Because
yeah.
Nintendo has left up a lot of compilation albums until now, where people
Mhm.
will do playlists where it's one.
No, and those
where it's
don't seem to
segmented.
be touched. But
I've
it's
actually
like,
none of
Not
the
yet.
none of the Nintendo themed music that I have like bookmarked on YouTube has gotten taken down. So maybe I've gotten really
Sure.
There's
lucky.
a full list of the Smash Bros. Ultimate music.
Oh, Smash
on-
Ultimate's still
on,
up. Yeah.
YouTube music that I hear or that I've had bookmarked for since
Well,
the game came out.
I would say the most egregious thing about the app is that it does not list the creators of the music
That
in their credits.
That
so-
seems like a
That
massive
is a
oversight.
massive oversight.
And I feel like that
The
needs
thing
to
I
be
will
corrected.
say
I feel
that's
like that's
interesting.
legally questionable even.
It
I
might
mean,
be.
they own it. They don't necessarily have to. They should.
I
Yeah.
think that you probably have to credit the original
I don't know.
creators because I think that the original
so.
creators
Either-
probably have
whether
some
you have to
rights.
legally, you should. It does not.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but the interesting thing about I've used it a little bit. It is interesting how they curate. It is neat to Nintendo always creates these weird products that it is fun with their like curated experience. So like they will have like collections of like Nintendo music based around themes, which is interesting.
Mhm.
Like you could argue that you could create that anyways, but it's interesting to have someone else make it for you and like just start playing music from your favorite games that is interconnected.
Does I wonder if KH Insider has a streaming function?
You can't say that name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know,
Nintend's
'cause
going
that's-
right to
I
them.
don't know if they even still exist.
Here's what
after I said that
Quentin
name.
will like the Alarmo now, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it plays Doom now.
It has Doom on
It
it.
plays Doom.
That is
And
pretty
it plays
s- that
Doom
is
better
pretty
than a
sweet.
fridge.
A
That is
modder
pretty
who I'm
sweet.
so sorry, modder. I did not write your name down. You just Google Doom on Alarmo.
it's on the screen right now.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Great work on working on the
Editor.
Alarmo like that.
No, yeah, that's
nice.
pretty amazing. Doom.
Yeah.
It doesn't run very good, but it's
No.
on there, and he made it to where when you twist the gun, like
Okay,
actually,
that's
Oh,
pretty
that's
It's
cool.
impressive.
That's
It's
pretty
really
nice.
Impressive.
The other big thing is going to be PS5 Pro releases this week. It's out.
It feels like
So Thursday,
You mentioned the evil one.
yeah,
we did.
We're
We
so
we,
sick,
we,
we almost-
we did a
Welcome to the
couple of weeks
PS5
without
Pro
it.
we can't go.
We skipped one
No.
episode.
We cannot go
Yeah.
1 week
It's
without
gonna,
talking
it's
about.
gonna be the
Maybe
second
two.
biggest thing in the thumbnail.
Oh,
just
okay.
so you
The-
no
The
doubt.
PS5.
Oh, algorithm.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
please bless
Please bless
us
us,
with pissing on the PS5 Pro like everyone else
The
is.
specs came out, leaked. People
Yeah.
leaked the specs, and I'm not technical enough to understand what it means.
They're decent. For the problem is the price point. Why
It's
would you?
so
If you
expensive.
there's a threshold. I've talked about like there's a certain threshold of money where once you cross it, you might as well go all the way.
Yeah.
Because you're taking out a loan anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking out a second mortgage on your house
Yeah,
anyway.
just to buy the PS5.
You might as well spend it all on and
Yeah.
get a computer.
Can I tell you guys a funny story?
Yeah.
So recently I was in this little hot dog restaurant, right? Like there's just this little hot dog restaurant in a strip mall. And I'm sitting there next to the head cook, right? And he's on break and he's sitting there with his phone and he's talking to the lady working the receptionist, who's his sister. And he's like, when I walk in and sit down, he's like on his phone. He's kind of laughing to himself. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And she's like, it's so much money. He's like, I'm going to do it anyway. And they're just kind of joking back and forth. And he's like, me and him get to talking. He's like, yeah, I'm going to buy a PlayStation. I'm going to go to PlayStation 5. I'm going to do it. It's a lot of money. And he's showing me like the PlayStation 5 he's going to get. I was like, oh, yeah, you should definitely get, if you listen off the games that he plays. And I said, did you ever, have you seen anything about their like new one? You should definitely I'm not sure you should get it. It's a lot more expensive and it's just like for the games he was playing. I don't know if there's any benefit. And he's like, oh, they got a new one. Oh man, I might want that one though. And I was like, I'm not sure it's worth it because given the games. And so I sit back down and I watch him sitting over there and he looks up and he goes, oh. He's like scrolling through it. And I'm like, the horror on this guy's face as he saw this new one.
What was the MSRP for the Pro? It's
on screen now.
$699.
$699.
It's bad.
At that point, for less than $300 more, you can have a great computer.
Yeah.
And like, just why? Why wouldn't you?
Again, these companies will create like ecosystems, and PlayStation has tried over the years to create one. Now they're really pushing for it with PSVR and everything. They're really hoping to make that kind of Apple or even Nintendo-esque experience where just being part of the ecosystem is fun and being part of it. I don't know if I'm not a big PlayStation guy, so I don't know if they're succeeding. Actually, if you're a PlayStation person, let us know if that's a draw. I'd be curious. None of us are big PlayStation guys. Quinn just put up a picture that I'm going to show right now.
$49.
Think about that, guys.
In 2007, you could purchase a Nintendo GameCube.
It was struggling
Silver
pretty
Edition
bad
for $49. Now, say what you will about the GameCube.
I miss the Walmart rollback guy.
But let me just tell you something. Game good. Game bad. No, I didn't.
We've lost.
So the point is that
into...
PS5 Pro new game, no stop.
Yeah,
and
GameCube
$49, 2007. That's good.
Guys, we're
Walmart.
Guys, we're closing out the news big this week. This freaking week. Mario and Luigi Brothership. If you're watching this, it's already out.
So good.
And I've been playing it, no one saw me for the past 3 days.
Yeah.
No, it looks so good. It brings a close to the November 2023 to November 2024 Mario RPG extravaganza.
They're going out with a bang. The Switch is going out with a bang.
It's going out with a bang.
I think we've talked before. We've all talked about our feelings about the Switch, and mine are pretty low.
Sure.
But man, what a
closing it out.
They're closing it out with a 2D Zelda game of Mario and Luigi coming out of nowhere. Xenoblade X, like they are
Metroid Prime 4.
Prime 4. I think of that as the next gen.
Yeah, that's
we're all playing that on
effectively.
but still, man, they are going out with a bang.
I will be personally playing Metroid Prime 4 on my current gen, which is called my very expensive top-of-the-line PC.
Here's what's crazy if you look at November 2023 to November now. There are 3 types of games that shouldn't exist anymore. They're all Mario RPGs, and they should be cursed to die. Super Mario RPG, the original, was a collab between Square and Nintendo, and famously they fell out right after that, and Intelligent Systems had to make Paper Mario. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door was the last RPG Paper Mario, and it didn't sell well, and nobody liked it. And no, that's not true.
Everybody
At the time, everybody loved it, but
it just didn't sell.
The rest of them sold better, and and Paper Mario took a completely different direction. And literally, the team that made Mario and Luigi games is gone. Alpha Dream doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore.
Yep.
Those 3 series should be dead, and in the span of 1 year, they all came back to life.
Yeah.
Bigger and better than ever. Like
Yeah.
the HD remasters of the first 2 I mentioned, fantastic,
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful, gorgeous. And now the Brothership looks good. I don't care. Don't come at me with the Metacritic score. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. Don't come at me with that.
That's
they
on
came at
screen
me
right
with
now.
Oh my
that.
god!
Did you see them just now
I
come
did.
at me with that?
I saw
did
him.
in
I
the
saw him,
comments.
and I'm
No,
calling.
I've
Come
heard
at me
that
with the
it is
open
getting-
critic
was
score, which
a
is
lewd
slightly
gesture.
lower.
No,
yeah,
I'm excited.
All
I'm
right.
excited to
Well,
play it.
That
I
sounds
am
like to
too.
me the news. Wait, can I do the bumper?
You can do the bumper.
What's the next thing to do the bumper on?
You have to
Let's
know it
see-
if you
let's
want to
see
do
if
the
you
bumper.
can guess the
Yeah.
name of it. It starts with a
It's-
T.
It's the topic of the week.
Yeah,
It's the topic of the week.
Hey.
Okay, so you guys are doing something kind of wacky, kind of wild.
No, he is. I don't know what I.
I'm not doing anything wacky or wild.
I
So
know
neither.
my.
You think that I had like a choreographed dance?
No, I
planned
actually
with
have.
Ethan?
I actually have.
I'm gonna cut to a choreographed dance of you guys.
I actually have a question, which my topic is very
Yeah.
reminiscent of Ethan's topic last week, which
Oh.
I thought was phenomenal
Character-
because I
yeah.
got best
Power up,
power ups because I got to bring up the infinite ammo bandana, which
You
I
did.
always
Good
want to
one.
talk to people about.
Yeah.
which I think you're wearing right now.
I'm
Yeah,
wearing the
you wore
infinite
it this
ammo
week.
bandana.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen you run out of ammo this whole podcast.
I haven't run out of ammo once.
No.
I've had infinite ammo.
It's pretty impressive.
My question, my topic is, what's your top 3 Nintendo DS games?
Oh, he's tying it into his emulation news that he didn't get to talk about in the news.
Oh, I'll just mention I bought a Bluetooth controller for my
Ooh,
phone, which
yeah.
is specifically designed for vertical
to
orientation,
hold it while it's
so that you
yeah.
can play
You
DS
want some-
games.
He's asking
And
for
I-
really
recommendations.
cool.
It's a really cool
Yeah.
You want
controller.
recommendations?
It's quite cheap, but
Mm.
it's specific. I literally just bought it only to play DS games on my phone, and also 3DS games as they can be run.
I'm gonna shock everyone
So top
that,
3
that mine are all Mario games.
What?
Whoa,
on the DS.
whoa.
Were there Mario games on the DS?
Mine are all Game Boy Advance compilation games.
He's just counting the fact that it can play
Mega
Game
Man
Boy
Zero
Advance
collection.
games. Yeah,
Right, right.
What, that wasn't on the DS.
Yeah.
Mega Man Zero collection was on the DS.
They released the Mega Man Zero
Oh.
collection on everything.
Mega Man Zero. You're thinking of Mega Man
It's a
Zero ZX collection.
Oh,
There was a collection before
Which,
that was just
be
the Mega
clear-
Man Zero games.
As I've said many times, Mega Man Zero, the best Mega Man games.
It's pretty
Don't
good.
at me.
They're really hard, but that's pretty good.
Okay, so top 3 DS games, because I need some
that is
recommendations for
Do
games.
you guys
to play.
need time? Because
I
I know mine.
I do not, but go ahead.
Oh no, then you go.
Ethan, go for it.
So
Top 3, let's hear them.
mine are a little different than some people's lists because there was a lot of weird games I really liked on that console.
Mhm.
First off, my apologies.
Thought that was my phone.
First off is
I'm sorry.
Star Wars Episode 3 the game.
Love
Okay,
that game.
On the 3DS.
No, on the DS.
On the DS.
Yeah.
And as
And
we
yes,
discussed, it
that's
didn't
really
have
good.
a 3DS release.
No,
it had a
it
DS
had,
it was
it had a
a
DS and a
and
Game
a
Boy.
Game Boy.
Advance.
Side-scrolling beat 'em
The
up.
side-scrolling beat 'em up parts are great, except you can never get the final power-up for Anakin because they didn't
Oh,
put in enough
yeah?
experience points
Okay.
for him to get it. It's very confusing. They're fine. They're fun. It's an okay game. The
multiplayer?
the Starfighter ports
Oh,
that
yeah.
are only in the
Really
DS
loving
game
that.
are the best
They're the best.
dogfighting game on
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
console.
I love them.
Yeah.
The big tragedy is that there's a Star Fox game on that console.
know.
And the big tragedy
You
is
wish it
its
played like
dogfighting
that.
isn't as good
It's
as
not
a
as good as
Star
the
Wars
Star
game.
Everything about
But
the
the Star
Star
Wars,
Fox is
it's
terrible.
fantastic. You can use cheat codes to unlock the Millennium Falcon, which scratches that little Rogue Squadron itch in the back of my
Mhm.
brain.
Mhm.
Goody
Couldn't
good
you unlock
juice.
an
Alright.
X-wing in it too? Yeah, yeah.
So okay, so we got
Yeah,
that's
it's good.
one. Okay,
What's the
Um,
next
more?
one?
The next one is Final Fantasy IV. The
course.
remake of
The
4
remake of
is
4?
phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list as
Yes.
well.
Well, now it can't be, buddy boy, because I need more games to play.
It is
Okay.
We have to have
And-
different lists.
It's Final Fantasy IV.
fantastic.
Okay,
it really is. Yeah,
Great.
Yes.
I never played 4 on the DS, so that
It was a
that's
big
worth
jump
it.
from the
Yeah.
Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, of
The
course.
voice acting
It's
in
a
it
full
is fun
remake.
because it's
Wow.
like got that like
Yeah.
like old timey tin can stuff. Right?
Well, classic for the
and
DS.
the final game I recommend, they were one game.
Okay.
And they got remade into 2 games.
Okay.
And they really should be 1 game. So I'm going to recommend them both. These both the Fire Emblem games. They're a remake of specifically the Super Nintendo Mystery of the Emblem and New Mystery of the Emblem.
Okay.
And they remade them as Shadow Dragon. And then they remade one called Heroes of Light and Shadow that never came to the US, but you can get a patch that fixes it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
I think, and this is a very controversial opinion, I think Shadow Dragon has one of the most unique and mechanics in a Fire Emblem game, and that is there are secret chapters that you only unlock when your army is below a certain size.
Ooh.
And the thing about that is I never kill units in Fire Emblem. I'm so like careful about it. I will recruit some guy who I never will play, like never deploy him once, right? But when you have I was like, I have to play, there's like 8 chapters you can only get in Shadow Dragon by playing with these with a smaller cast, and it really forces you to make some tough decisions about what characters do you actually like. And then the reward is these are some really well written little short stories and some really cool characters. You get a character in every one of the side quests, and then that bumps up your total unit count, and you have to decide how much you like them. And it really pushes you. And then Heroes of Light and Shadow was a fantastic remake from the sense of how do you it might be the only time they've ever done this that I can think of. What happens when you remake a game but you have a new main protagonist? Heroes of Light and Shadow nails it. The new character you play as, your custom character, actually has a good story. The new chapters, they add in side quest chapters throughout the main game and a pretty beefy prologue that is all your story that's like separate from Marth's. Fantastic.
Okay.
Somehow they managed to like it doesn't feel like you hijacked it. It still tells the original story.
I enjoy Fire Emblem. That's old Fire Emblem before it became woke DEI ketchup and mustard Joy-Con anime girl.
Correct.
Obviously, yes. But yeah.
Correct. Next, who's got recommendations for me for their 3?
So
DS
initially
games?
I was going to say 3 Mario games, but as I think about it, I might say... So here's the tough part. Sorry, I just heard my dog howling. I hope it's on the recording. So here's what I'll say. One of the DS games, because I was young when the DS came out, and like one of the games that really like had a big impact on me was Animal Crossing Wild World.
Absolutely.
So that is one of my favorite DS games, and I recommend that anyone play it. I will say that Animal Crossing is always a little melancholy to go back to. If you're, and I don't know that you should start a new Animal Crossing.
I literally said a little while ago that I will never go back and play Animal Crossing.
We've discussed this. When you go back, you're a tourist. You're not a villager anymore. You're a tourist.
So that is one of my favorite DS games. But the ones that I think that if you're going to go back to the DS that are just like bangers that are absolutely fantastic. The first one I'll mention is topical. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
Okay.
I mean, like
one of my games.
Ty doesn't have favorite games on the DS.
You are gonna have to pull.
That's what you get for going last.
I'm gonna have to.
No, Bowser's Inside Story. It's the best one. I'm a little kind of out there because my favorite Mario and Luigi game is Dream Team. Shock. Everybody's comments explode.
Yeah.
But Bowser's Inside Story is fantastic. It's super fun. The Bowser gameplay. It's better than Partners in Time, which is the other DS game.
Okay.
Mario Kart DS. You got to play Mario Kart DS.
Mario Kart DS.
Mario Kart is one of those series that is iterative like Animal Crossing, but there's always a reason to go back to older Mario Karts just because there's going to be tracks that haven't shown up again. Somehow Delfino Square hasn't shown up since.
Sometimes they have mechanics that they dropped afterward, like Double Dash.
Yeah. Oh, Double Dash. Yeah. So Mario Kart DS is fantastic and always a good time. And then the one that I feel like gets often overlooked is the original New Super Mario Brothers. It's a fantastic game.
It's a really great game.
Really good game.
We because of the long stint of the now.
Weren't the first 2 new Super Mario Bros on DS?
No. So we had New Super Mario Bros. then New Super Mario Bros. Wii, then New Super Mario Bros. 2, then New Super Mario Bros. U.
So New Super Mario Bros. 2 was a
3DS.
3DS game?
Yeah.
Never mind.
And it's also pretty
Yeah, it's
darn
quite good.
I think all of the games are
Yeah.
pretty good, but the original really stands out as having its own style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pick up and
Yes.
play. It's fun.
And it
So
feels
that's
like
my
a proper
endorsement.
revival of the
Yeah.
2D style.
Also, if you have
Okay.
time, I'm just going to do 5.
Okay,
I don't
go-
care
do-
about
go
your
ahead, do
question.
5. Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
that's
Say the
fine.
other two that were from Ty's list.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one's definitely on Ty's list.
Okay.
Mario Party DS is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Fantastic.
All right, Ty.
Wait, let
Good
me-
luck.
Yeah,
Mech
right?
Warrior.
Uh,
Mech Warrior.
The DS is weird because a lot of the franchises that I really loved kind of skipped it. Like, I'm a big fan of Legend of Zelda, but I'm not that big a fan of the Zelda games on the DS.
They didn't skip it. They're on there.
I hate
You just have to embrace
You
them.
just have to embrace them.
So the first is I think a quintessential DS game. It basically sold the console and then didn't release for 2 years, which is Metroid Prime Hunters.
Oh,
They
yeah.
bundled it
Phenomenal.
with a demo
I
for
should have said
Metroid
that
Prime
just to get
Hunters.
at you.
Phenomenal game.
And then and I'm gonna pull a wild one and say this game has there's a special emulator out there just for this game.
Which one?
Metro, it's some kind of port of Melon DS,
Send me a link.
and it adds full mouse and keyboard
That's
controller
amazing.
support, and it's really really good.
That's
This is
amazing.
for
And
Metroid
multiplayer
Prime.
support. And so for Metroid Prime Hunters,
Man, we should
yeah.
play multiplayer.
Why aren't we
Yeah,
playing
multiplayer
it?
was great.
We
Can
should
can
right
do
now.
Like a,
Maybe we should go find our original
online
save file.
multiplayer.
and
Can
play
we
it.
do
We
a?
should
Can
do
we?
that.
Yeah, that would be
Good
good.
idea.
Can we
Not
do
a
a
bad idea.
group Metroid Prime Hunters?
Let's
Which,
do
like,
it.
multiplayer.
Let's do
Let's
it.
do
I
it.
guess if we get enough likes.
Yeah,
Really?
I
Yeah.
guess-
Yeah.
I guess maybe if we get enough follows,
if
we'll
If
do
we get
that.
enough
If
subscribers on
only.
We'll do that.
Patreon. Okay,
Um,
so that's good. So,
so that-
Metroid Prime Hunters.
Metroid Prime Hunters
That's your one?
is a big one. My other two were snatched.
They were
from
snatched
me.
right from your grip.
So I'm gonna dig deep
Dig
for
deep,
this
dig
one.
deep.
I'm gonna dig deep for this one. I love a good Metroidvania,
Okay.
and there's a very obscure but very fun kind of Metroidvania game called Aliens Infestation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shockingly good.
Yeah.
It's
Uh-huh.
shockingly. It came out at the same time or right before Aliens Colonial Marines, which of course is a
Uh-huh.
giant trash fire.
Right.
And
of
I
course.
feel like it got overlooked. It is, or they thought it was the same thing, or maybe a
Mhm.
port. Is nothing remotely similar.
Hmm.
It's like a Metroidvania Contra style hybrid. It is incredibly fun. It
Hmm.
is tense and spooky, and just a really good, entertaining game.
It's for DS.
It's for DS.
It has
Yeah.
really good
Aliens
animation.
I know the
Infestation.
game.
Wow.
Yeah.
The graphics are crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also has character permadeath. Your characters die,
Ooh.
and you have to replace
It's like
them
a
by
roguelike.
other
Okay.
Marines you find
That's
around
pretty
the
cool.
map, and so you can lose
Wow.
characters that you're attached to and
Wow.
stuff. It's quite fun.
All right, buddy boy,
Um,
you got one more.
I got one more, and I'm gonna pick one that I'm shocked was not on Ethan's list. Because I would have bet money that it would have been. It's a puzzle game called Hotel Dusk.
Oh yes.
Hotel Dusk, all black and white.
Now, I will say Hotel Dusk will not help me with my new controller configuration because I
Because-
could very easily just play
Yeah,
it
just
holding
play
the,
it. Yeah.
the phone and using my
Normally,
finger
yeah.
for the touchscreen.
Yes, correct. It is almost entirely a touchscreen.
But I
game.
do agree, Hotel Dusk is absolutely phenomenal.
A phenomenal
I played
game.
Hotel
and
Dusk
the sequel. There is a sequel
released in England. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I played Hotel Dusk not too long ago on my computer, and it was absolutely a delight. That game is.
Yeah.
What's amazing is that they have not released a detective game that I have liked as much.
Yeah.
One of the few
Since then,
games
which
our
is crazy.
dad plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, our
plays-
dad loved Hotel
He played
Dusk.
Mist. He played the Siberia series, and he played Hotel,
Hotel
Dusk.
Dusk
and the
That's-
Journeyman Project.
I am going to say the three games.
Okay.
The three games are Star Fox Assault. Sorry, Star Fox
Not on the
Command,
DS.
Immediately lists a GameCube title.
Yeah.
a GameCube title, which is it's a great one. Star Fox Command, the Phantom Hourglass, Zelda: The Phantom Hourglass,
Great game.
and Zelda
Best Zelda
the
game.
the
Spirit Tracks.
Spirit Tracks, because I want to list games that use the touchscreen to their peril and are only
They're
made
terrible.
only made worse by virtue of having been on the DS.
So you did not list, like, for instance, Kirby's Canvas Curse, which
that's
used the
great.
'Cause it's
touchscreen
great.
exclusively.
There's-
Yeah,
no, there,
yeah.
there-
Very
you
well.
understand there are games. The touchscreen is not a problem.
Yeah.
It's simply the fact that there are some
These games should not have used
These games
it.
should not have
Yeah.
used them, and it's terrible that they do.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is touchscreen game, touchscreen game, no stop.
That's right.
Okay.
Touchscreen games.
Okay, I can follow that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
the
that's
first
my
thing.
recommendations.
Okay, good.
There you
DS
go.
I think I
games.
get it.
Hooray.
That's pretty
Okay.
good.
Next topic.
What we got, Ethan? What we got?
I'm going to go last this time.
Ty's going last, so you got to go.
Do you want to flip a coin for it? No, I can go. So, what?
Oh, of course.
So, Monster Hunter
Yeah.
had its demo. It's
Open beta,
It
yeah.
technically wasn't a demo. It was its open beta. Yeah,
Yep.
Right.
stress test kind of thing.
We all lit a fire and sat around and played
Yeah.
it.
I
When it was
traveled
there.
to the mountains to play it.
To play it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hunted monsters, and while I was hunting them, I pulled out my my Game Boy
Right.
Advance to play it.
Yeah.
And it was a mix of like really great stuff that like I think we all had a blast with, and really concerning things
Mm-hmm. I agree.
that like just very worrying signs.
Yeah.
And then
I don't
As
think
soon
any,
as
I don't
the
think I've
big-
seen anybody who was happy with the insect glaive.
yeah, that
Like
lot
I've,
of weapons.
I've seen no person say that it was good.
I got shafted hard on this. I play Insect Glaive and Bow,
Yeah.
and they got dumpstered in
Yeah.
this. People playing Katana all got Ritalin in this one.
Yes,
they are
they
just
did. Yeah.
zipping around.
Yeah.
I would
they
just like to
cannot
point
stand
out,
still.
I did not play this, and so the only exposure I have had is everyone that I know that has played it saying, "What? Why? What happened?
It is
Why are they?
bizarre.
Why did they do this?"
Well, but
Yeah.
the thing is that like before I get into my questions, that like I think we all loved the map design.
Map design was great.
Map
When I heard
design's
open world Monster
perfection,
Hunter,
yeah.
I thought like
Cringe.
open
Yeah.
world where it's like, oh, you see a monster over here, you go walk to get.
Uh-huh.
It feels like a GameCube game or like
I
a
think I'm
like a
gonna
Zelda
say it.
game.
I
Its
think
map
they
is
figured out
amazing.
open world game design.
I was gonna say
I think-
it feels
yeah.
like
Yeah.
the open world that we used to think of when people said open world.
When someone told me
Yeah.
Zelda open world, I always imagined Breath of the Wild. You
Yeah.
know, this very
Yeah.
peaceful meadows you walk through,
Mhm.
and there's 50,000 different little
Very
trees you can walk
purposeful,
around, right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like these beautiful escapes, you approach them from any angle. When someone said Monster Hunter open world, I was always like, well, what is that? And then I played World, and I'm like, that's it. It's
Yeah.
fantastic the way it feels natural, but kind of corners monsters off into areas, and there's transition.
You felt that
All
way in
good.
World or in
And
Wilds?
no, in Wilds. Sorry,
Oh, Wilds.
Wilds. Yeah, that was great. This is the thing, though, is that the developers then come along and say like, "Oh, we know that stuff didn't work," which I'm like, "Why'd you let me play with Insect Glaive? You could have just given me Sword and Shield."
They
and
know
told
the
me, like,
weapons don't work.
They have said now that like, yeah, we're still
Oh.
working on some of this stuff.
yeah,
There's worries that maybe it's a little more fundamental problems, but that's a different discussion.
sure.
This one is when you get early access to a game and then it has things that give you kind of red flags.
Mhm.
How do you guys process that? How does it affect like whether or not
Mhm.
you're going to buy a game if you're really excited for it and you get your hands on it and then you're very disappointed? Even if like the developers come back and say that they're aware of that. Like how what kind of process you guys go through when you think about like, do I want to invest $80 in a
Interesting.
game that I was super excited for a minute ago and now I have serious concerns about?
Yeah, am I canceling the pre-order over this, or am I? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a great question because beta access is always like that, where
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, you're like, what of this is going to still be here? That's the nerve-wracking part. Is you're like, is this not going to be here when I get the game, or is this the way the game is? A guy broke it down really well when he noticed that the hit stun in the game and how there isn't a lot, how like the game doesn't have a lot of hit stun. And it's like, at least he may not know, but it's just sort of like, is that because they decided to put in less hit stun, which makes the weapons and stuff feel floatier and everything just feels like when we were playing with a friend of ours, he was talking about how it just feels floaty. Like he's like the combat feels floaty, and we were all noticing that it was like slow. So it's like now I lucked out in the sense that I'm a Sword and Shield main, and Sword and Shield is still pretty solid. I do hope they work out some of the kinks, like in button prompts don't always work and stuff like that. But I mean, it might not be the best answer in the world, but my answer is that it's nerve-wracking is what it is, because you're like, how much of this, when you encounter things where you like clip through a wall or your character like sputters really bad, you go beta test.
I have a recording of one of the monsters trying to escape me, and I kept like hitting it with the little dart gun,
kunai,
to try and slow it down. And then at one point it turned and looked right at me, and it turned back toward the wall it was trying to climb, and it just went up and down the wall rapidly, like every frame, and then shot off into the distance. And I was like, he had enough of my bull crap. He zooted right on out. I don't think about
that. Doesn't worry me.
No,
that
your
doesn't worry me.
tranquilizers can do nothing to me.
It's like they changed my weapon, which was fairly fast and aerial, and they changed it to a ground-based slow charging weapon.
Very strange.
Like,
and no one liked it.
So like in Monster Hunter Rise, the it's not called the Ancestral Step. That's from Monster Hunter 4. What's it called? The Ancient something. The first map in Rise.
Yeah, I know the one you're
Ancient Forest?
Ancient Forest, maybe. The first, Ty doesn't know either.
Mushroom Hill Zone.
It's Mushroom Hill Zone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, in the Mushroom Hill Zone, in the first part of Rise, like every little corner is full of like detail, and like to this day I'm probably not bored exploring that. Like that's a Monster Hunter map. It's just fun. The deserted island. Like beautiful and just fun to go around. The thing I'm nervous about is like I was excited all last week to just play Monster Hunter nonstop.
Yeah.
I hunted the 3 monsters, and then I was like, what do I do now? And it felt like it felt a little empty. I was kind of like, I wish there were more fishing spots. And like the fishing spots will just, if you scare the fish, they clear out, and you just have to wait. I don't even know how long for them to respawn. Is that in the game? And
or
so
is that the beta?
And it makes me. Here's what I'll say.
We all remember when Tri launched its demo disc, and we got crushed by Quoropeko over and over again. And you get into the game, it's super easy.
It's super easy.
In the demo disc, it was insane.
So that's the thing, is like for a series that I love, like Monster Hunter, where I just as soon as it went up for pre-order, I pre-ordered it because I want to play it. It makes me really nervous. But I will say that for a series, if this was a beta test for a game I didn't know as well, I would be kind of like, well, it might kill my momentum for the game.
I'd like to cap off this this question, since I haven't played it.
Yeah,
oh, wait,
since
Ty
I haven't answered.
I could have swore you started talking.
I love
Let me
that.
cap off before Ty can say anything.
Put the bottle lid back on before Ty gets a sip.
I don't.
Nobody's worried about what I have to
Listen, buddy,
say.
they took your picks for the DS games. I'm taking your ability to speak on this subject.
It's fair.
Okay, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
He's in capping. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm going to in cap it.
Yeah, I had a lot of the same thoughts about Monster Hunter. I also kind of lucked out because I felt like Switch Axe was pretty good. There's some things that they could change. But obviously people's like feedback and stuff was regarding the insect glaive and everything was kind of negative, and but on the other hand, I also love the open world. But when you play, so I had a more positive experience with the demo just because of the weapon choice I made, basically, right? But when
I could switch back over to Katana and have a heart attack.
It's
good
exactly.
now. Yeah. It's good now. It's just like you're
Maybe
literally
too
just
good.
Video game cocaine.
You have to be defibrillated after you play.
Right.
But I'm a big fan. I almost never pre-order video games anymore, and
which is smart.
I've played a lot of like early access and demos and betas. I've been in a lot of betas. I was in the Halo beta back in the day. I mean, like I've been into it for a very long time, and so they you learn to, not perfectly by any means, but you learn to recognize what is a beta problem. Like this just needs time to work out. And what's like a design problem. Design problems make me go, oh no. Because I played one game that was coming out I was so excited for, which was Homeworld 3. I'm a huge fan of Homeworld, and I have been ever since the original release. It was dead for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I liked Deserts of Carrick, which was previous game, same team.
Very different. but good.
Very different, but a very good game. And then I played the early open beta for Homeworld, and I went, oh no.
The story's too good.
Well, it didn't have any of the story, but the story did end up being complete trash.
Yeah.
But the gameplay was like these fast, quick encounters, and Homeworld was all about this like most of the map was empty and should be empty because that's the idea of the game, and you have these little intense encounters, and then you're back to like this big vastness of space, and they turned it into this like Starcraftian rapid fire, and I went, this is a problem of design. And at the time with Homeworld, I was like, well, this is just like a special game mode that they were demoing. The main game, the multiplayer, competitive will probably all be different. It'll be that big expansive mode. I was fooling myself, of course, because it was a
question about it.
Yeah.
So I'm not, because I didn't get a chance to really like dig into that Homeworld. I remember seeing you play it a couple times. Didn't they delay it to try and fix things?
They did, and they fixed a lot of the technical issues people had with it. But those were the things I was least concerned about, because I was like, yeah, this game is a technical mess. Mech Warrior 5 Clans just came out. Yeah. The game is a technical mess. Should not have come out in this state.
Yeah.
I look at that game and I see nothing but potential, because I think almost every choice they made from a fundamental design perspective was absolutely the right one. They've got a rock solid game. It has a terrific story. They just needed to polish it.
Yeah.
It needed like another 6 months in the oven. And so
Just
when
me.
just 6 month premium.
I needed 6 months more
really,
in that oven.
Me for real.
Okay.
But like it had problems that were not just technical problems, which is what they fixed with Homeworld, but the fundamental problems, the design problems, the thing that like you didn't realize why we liked your game, and you took out the part we liked. And so that's something that I don't think you can fix with a couple months delay.
So
that was the one I thought when the Capcom was like, oh no, we're aware of this. Like these things aren't done yet. We're still working on it. I thought back to Homeworld 3 and I was like, do I feel better that they know this wasn't good and still showed it to us, or do I feel worse like this is just PR?
Yeah, can they fix this in 6 months is the question. So, with Homeworld, I knew they could not fix
fundamental
what they had in 6 months. They'd have to redesign the entire game.
Yeah.
With Monster Hunter, maybe they can fix it.
Maybe.
I think with Monster Hunter they can fix bow and light bow gun.
If they
cannot fix Insect Glaive.
Yeah,
they've got to rework that entirely.
Insect Glaive is like one of the things that makes Insect Glaive bad in some games.
I was an Insect Glaive
is
guy,
where
so
when
I love that.
monsters don't even when they make it good, when it can be too good when monsters don't have an answer to verticality.
Yeah,
the Monster Hunter games like Rise and like the 4 were first introduced the Insect Glaive. Monsters have a way of dealing with you when you're above them.
Yeah,
and in World they don't. You can just frog. You can Super Mario them to death by just bouncing on them, and they have like Devil Joe has no way of getting you off of him until you run out of stamina. Yeah. It's just a matter of you just pushing the right buttons until he dies. It's just But then in Rise, like sometimes monsters will just like do a backflip and kick you out of the air.
Yeah, right.
And so right now they took out bouncing on monsters with Insect Glaive. They can fix the ground stuff and maybe it'll be a little more fun to play because it's not very fun, but they can't fix it from its uniqueness because they'd have to remake their monsters. And their monsters don't have an answer to it.
All right. Now, may I cap off?
Take us home.
Please do.
I'll say one thing about the beta so that Quentin can't speak.
Oh my God.
No, the one thing I will say is that, because you said, do they have time to fix this in 6 months? Data miners did see that this beta may have been prepared over a year ago.
Oh, I guarantee it was.
So
I guarantee.
So this could be a
right.
very old version.
How much is this game going to cost when it launches?
Probably
$69.99.
$69.99.
Yeah,
it's going to have the dreaded de nouveau.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
all of Capcom's releases.
Why are you even talking about this game?
$69.99 for this Monster Hunter game.
Right.
That's great, buddy. But I don't know if you remember. that the Nintendo GameCube for $49 in 2007.
Yeah.
Go to your local game store and purchase a used copy of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker
Right.
for $12. You have now spent less on a, wait for it, Nintendo 64 and one of the best Zelda games
Wait.
that you could ever play. It's called The Wind Waker.
Yes.
And it's great. You can play it right now. It's one of the best Zelda games, in my opinion. I absolutely love it. And you only spent $49 for the GameCube or N64 or whatever console you want.
$61.99 is actually what you said.
The Nintendo 65. The point is that it's highway robbery, what we're talking about right now.
He's
gone,
sick.
guys.
It's highway
He's
robbery,
lost
what we're
it.
talking about right now. You can't
Quinn,
argue.
you got to stop drinking so much before
You
the podcast.
Listen, narcotics don't come cheap. You know, I feel like if I don't use them, it's
then
a waste.
Then you got to stop buying the cheap ones.
Let me tell you something about narcotics. It's similar to putting an avocado in your fridge, all right? You look at it and you're like, if I don't eat this, I'm going to really feel like the $12 I spent at Whole Foods is really going to be a waste.
Oh my god.
So you can't tell me, ooh, quit taking the narcotics. That avocado is overripe already. So the point is,
I think you're the avocado in this scenario.
so the point is,
no.
you can't tell me. You all said all these things, these like complaints about Monster Hunter.
I did have a lot of fun with it.
And I'm glad you had fun. But you also you have all these complaints. You have all these things where you're like these fundamental flaws. You brought up Try, okay? You can say like, well, the Try demo had some. It was a bit difficult for some of these things. These were not. These were design choices that were poor in the demo. The reason that some bosses were really hard in the Try demo is because they gave you the complete worst equipment possible to fight that monster.
Yeah.
There was nothing technically wrong with that situation.
Sure.
It was entirely them going like, what if we made this artificially harder by making a stupid choice that you'd never make in the game?
Yeah,
And
that's fair.
it was to say, we're not going to show our big bosses. We're going to show our little ones. Metal Gear Solid, Hideo Kojima, Shinzo Abe video, right? The point
gonna clip
is,
it.
He's lost the plot.
what my point of all of this is that when I hear about new games that you literally have a demo where you're like,
I gotta look that up.
you're like, there's fundamental flaws. It was insane. It looked like Cyberpunk at launch, right? And it's a Monster Hunter game, and I pre-ordered it for $70, right?
Yeah.
You cannot argue
Why
with
don't
me.
pre-order?
No, I understand, but you cannot argue with me that things are not intrinsically worse than when we got that Try demo disc and we enjoyed it.
I actually want to say
and
something
we loved
though,
Try.
is that my biggest impression, both the good and the bad, was this feels like an old video game. In some ways, it's great. Map design feels like old game.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
You're speaking my language.
It's a game. It's not real life where you have to like sit there and harvest wheat to not starve to death.
You have to follow
it's a
the
game.
traffic laws.
You run around and you grab items with a grappling hook because it's like that's just.
I
cool.
like that you hit the mining spots one time and then you take multiple things
Okay,
out
that's
of
so
them.
cool.
That's a
And
cool
I'm glad
idea.
It's
Great
just,
animation.
it's just got
That's
that.
nice.
It's got
That's
old
nice.
game, and Capcom does this a lot. It's got old game sensibility. And when I first played, I'm like, this is
And that's
great.
nice.
And then I started playing with the weapons. I'm like, this feels like a PSP game. And I'm not sure I want to play another PSP game.
Okay, yeah.
Which as soon
but-
as you start the game, go
Yeah.
into your controls and change the secret controls.
All the control
yeah.
settings
Sacred?
have to
Well,
just change. Why do
that's a
half
lot
the
of
game
modern
controls
games.
have to be
I
changed
don't understand.
because they made the worst possible
I don't
choice.
think
That's actually what happened with the Try demo too.
I was gonna
You
say,
had to
I don't
waggle.
think.
You're
Yes, I was just about to say, I don't
played
think it's been a
all of
Monster
Try
Hunter.
with Waggle.
You're right.
Yeah, you're a
Leave me
madman.
alone.
No, there hasn't been a
No.
Monster Hunter game that I haven't changed the controls on.
Yeah.
So,
But
Yeah,
yeah, that's
fair.
kind of the weird thing about it. Quinn.
One person said of the Insect Glaive that in order to play it, the claw is not enough, and that filled me with such dread because back in the day, the claw was how you had to like play the game.
I did have to use
and
the
if the
claw.
claw
once.
is not enough,
Who knows?
because you have to be hitting.
I think we've since
That's
since
good.
I capped it off. I think we've
Great
talked this
in
point.
cap, Quentin.
That's the end cap.
My turn because you
Yeah,
want to go
let's do
last. I'm gonna tie it into what I'm excited about. Mario and Luigi Brothership's coming out. So excited.
Putting the Metacritic
so
score
good.
up on screen right now.
No.
Wipe it away. Wipe it away.
Get it out.
Get it out of here.
Get it out.
Get it out. Turn
I see
those
you coming
lights
at
off.
me.
See you coming at me in the comments, and I'm
I see
dodging.
what you're doing.
I'm
dodging every
weaving.
single
Yeah.
one.
No.
I will play it in 4K and you can't stop me.
Yeah.
All right? Metacritic.
No, so it got me thinking though that like technically I'm really excited for what is a spin-off. Like you've got mainline Mario games which evolved into 3D and kind of split from, they have Super Mario 64 going one way, New Super Mario Bros going another way. But ultimately this is a spin-off game, and it got me thinking about spin-offs because some series are like the fans love spin-off games. And Mario is such a unique scenario because as a diehard Mario fan, like we love Mario spin-offs. We get excited. We want more spin-offs of Mario. We want Mario Minecraft. Like, how's Mario not had a survival craft game? He's had an XCOM game. He's had,
You all have it. You have. You understand that this is called an unhealthy obsession.
Yeah.
It's called an unhealthy
Put him
obsession.
in everything.
When
A
you,
fixation.
When you started that, I thought that was a joke. I was like, hey, he started off with a joke. Well,
No.
he's
No.
not.
No,
I'm
that's
not
wrong.
joking.
He's had
Mario
two.
Rabbids, he's had two.
He said two.
No, so it got me thinking because like the reason I think that people want Mario games, whereas like you don't hear as many, maybe they do, Sonic fans out there. Tell me, do you want more Sonic
I
Transformed?
almost said the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah.
It's a DS game
That
you
was
should
a good
play.
game.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! I gotta write that one down.
Oh yeah,
Let me
Sonic.
tell you something.
BioWare.
Dark
Let me just tell you
Brotherhood.
something. I'm sorry, this real quick
You're
tangent.
good. You're good.
Sonic games are the worst games ever made, and I have played all of them.
If we get enough subscribers, will you release your Sonic Adventure
let me-
2?
Oh yeah.
You're
Please,
killing me
please
with
do.
even the
He'll
mention.
do. He'll do
of the,
If you sign up for our Patreon, you can see him play Sonic Adventure.
I want to see him read his extensive
I was gonna say,
manifesto.
Yeah.
my
Manifesto.
review of Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure the original on the Dreamcast is presently 18 pages long, and I am about halfway finished with it.
It's not allowed on the channel,
and it's not allowed on the channel. It's too, but no,
Yeah.
It would cause too much political unrest.
It would cause political
correct.
unrest. My endorsement of George Sears was
Sears
the only
doesn't need that.
was the least controversial
He
part
doesn't
of it.
need that kind of.
No, but mentioning Sonic Dark Brotherhood on the DS, I just want to point out it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
pretty good.
I know.
Shockingly good.
I know.
It
It's
kind of-
not,
wasn't it BioWare?
old BioWare.
I
Old
trash talk
BioWare.
Sonic a lot, but honestly, that one's pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. Sorry, your
back
point.
onto the
back
tracks.
back on track.
More
Uh,
remakes.
More Mario
or
games.
more
Spin-offs.
No, so what's interesting is that I think that what got me thinking was Mario has a lot of spin-offs, but he also takes his time getting into those spin-offs. Like when you look at when Mario started versus when they started franchising him out, it actually took a while. And so like they're associated with quality. Mario Tennis, maybe one of the best tennis games out there. Like it outsells and
It
outpaces.
is a really good tennis game.
Like Virtua Tennis is really great, but
Mhm.
it doesn't hit the. I'm not just talking about sales numbers because like Mario will sell, but it's actually a well-made game. So it got me thinking about spin-offs. What, in your opinion, if you had to take your favorite series? The thing I was going to say was that I don't see, maybe fans are like Sonic fans are really clamoring for like a new Sonic Team Racing. I don't see you guys. You guys got to raise your profile because I don't see you.
Well,
but it's interesting.
Sonic fans want a different kind of content.
Mhm.
Okay.
More murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Actually,
that
that's
was
a pretty good spin-off.
Yeah, that was a pretty good spin-off. That's pretty fun.
It's interesting to me because sometimes it seems like fans are never happy with a spin-off, even though it followed a very similar formula to what Nintendo did with Mario. And so I'm curious what you think. What makes a good spin-off? Not a good game, but just what makes a good spin-off from it. And what series do you wish had more spin-offs? No.
Yeah,
Ethan?
I was
No, I'm
about to
just
say.
kidding. No, you can go. You can go.
Capped off last one, so he's got to pop the cap.
I was
Yeah,
about to say,
go for it.
I actually was being very generous because I was like, after the last one, I was like, there's no way they're going to let me cap this one off again.
Never.
So I was like, okay, I'll be generous and go ahead and cut them to it. But then you said no.
no.
So, no, but I won't hold you to that. The thing that I think is really important with a spinoff, right, is that it's a game that has a recognizable mascot that actually justifies there being a spinoff. Because here's the problem I have.
Like Shin-Chan.
Like Shin-Chan. If I was in Japan, I would agree. But the problem I have is, so I think I don't know if I've mentioned on the pod before, but I love Boku no Natsuyasumi, right? They're the Boku no Natsuyasumi. They're really fun games. You can do guides if you don't know any of the Japanese.
Sure.
I think the game's title roughly translates to like My Summer Vacation.
It's something like something to that effect. But
are you mentioning that because I mentioned Shin-Chan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and so when I played, because I love those games, and you can follow English language guides that if you don't know any of the kanji and all that. But they made a spinoff that was Shin-Chan.
Yeah.
Right. They also Attack of the Friday Monsters on the DS. I mean the 3DS is a phenomenal game, and that's in English. So please play Attack of the Friday Monsters. It's really great, really short.
So is
wonderful.
my Shin-Chan My Summer Vacation.
So Shin-Chan, okay, they released a Shin-Chan game, and it's on Steam, and you can play it, and it's made by the same creator as Boku no Natsuyasumi. It plays the same way. It is such a really wonderful game, and I really, really enjoy it. I also have no idea. I had no idea who Shin-Chan really was.
Didn't either, no.
I don't read Shin-Chan comics or watch his anime or anything like that. I'm not actually plugged in, despite knowing how to read some Japanese and things like that. I'm not actually interested in Japan. I'm not interested in Japan, or I'm not interested in their. I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
So when I see Shin-Chan in a Boku no Natsuyasumi spinoff, I look at it and that doesn't appeal to me, right? As an American, that's not an icon that I'm particularly interested in, right? And so the spin-offs that appeal to me most are ones of iconic characters that I go, hey, this isn't just a racing game. This is a Nintendo racing game.
Right.
I like that this has Zelda in it, right? Link specifically, represented in this. I like that it has characters from different games in Smash Bros. Represented because they're iconic, Solid Snake and all that. It's about hitting that sweet spot of recognizable appeal, right? Shin-Chan in Japan is super recognizable, so it's not like I'm faulting them for making that.
I think
as
a lot
spin-off.
of kids grew up with Shin-Chan. Yeah.
I'm sure, and it's super popular. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's wrong for them to make that game. I'm sure it was a very smart decision. For me, I was playing it and I was like, why isn't this just a Boku no Natsuyasumi game? I don't know why. I don't know these characters. They look weird, and I don't like the style. They've got these inside jokes that I don't know.
Right.
And so for me, that's a big part of it. Recognizable appeal. The second thing is, your question was, what is something that you want more spin-offs of?
What do you want to spin off of? Yeah.
Not Metal Gear Solid. My answer is not Metal Gear Solid, okay? Because everybody's going to come in here and they're going to hit me with the whole, oh, I don't understand. Are you trying to say that Portable Ops was bad? That game's actually really good. It's really good. It actually adds some really cool stuff to the lore. And don't you like that it kept the comic book style? And isn't it better how it plays like MGS3 instead of like Peace Walker? And I mean, don't you think it's better? And don't you think the base building has actually got some improvements over Peace Walker? I don't want to hear it. If you ever talk to me about Portable Ops, I will find your house and I will feed you a raw egg. Okay? So
not your worst threat.
No.
So
I liked
pretty
it.
good.
It was very unique.
That was good.
So
Yeah,
because everybody says that, and then they're like, it's just.
I think the Portable Ops came out before Peace Walker, though.
I'm sure. No, what I'm saying is that they're saying that their things are better in it than Peace Walker, which came.
So why is it a bad spinoff?
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's a bad. No, and I'm not even saying it's a bad spinoff. No, what I'm saying is that it's a slippery slope. Because the next thing somebody's going to tell me, yeah, Acid's actually really fun. Oh, really? How many times did you play through Acid?
Play Survive.
I'll tell you how many times.
Survive.
I will tell you how many times you played through Acid and Acid 2. You played through it once, and maybe you beat it. Okay.
Maybe.
Is that a game?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid.
Acid.
Metal Gear Acid.
Metal
yeah.
Gear Acid.
Everybody goes, but what about X? What about this? What about that? All right. I don't want to hear it. Metal Gear Solid does not need spin-offs. I don't care about Revengeance.
It needs the right kind of spin-off.
It doesn't need a spin-off because it never needs
What
another
about
game.
A tactics game.
It never needs another game ever again.
That's what Acid is.
Acid is a tactics.
It's
game.
not
really?
great.
Metal Gear Solid never needs another game again because it's over.
No one does.
We had Metal Gear Solid 5, Duran, incomplete game, Invisible. Okay. So please,
Yeah, no more.
no more.
We had Metal Gear Survive, and that capped off the franchise.
Do you want a Death Stranding spinoff?
I do not want a Death Stranding spin-off.
I want a Death Stranding.
I think we will get one,
pilot simulator
but
where you just fly a plane around.
That's impossible in this world. You mentioned the one thing that you can't do.
I know. I'm very intentional.
Why can't you fly a plane?
Because of chiralium in the atmosphere prevents things from flying above, I think, like 30 feet or something like that.
I didn't know that, but that makes a shocking amount of sense.
That's why
they can't launch rockets into space.
That's why it makes it very difficult for them to go over the tar belt to try and get to like get to
You're talking about Death Stranding,
Europe or things like that. The real thing is that I actually would rather there be fewer spin-offs as a general rule. I think the issue is that we have so many spin-offs of games like Mario and Sonic, and they end up just getting lost in my view. And so I would really love if our spin-offs in general were very, very focused. Because you can say that Mario and Luigi is a spin-off.
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi, love.
Yeah,
Mario and Luigi
great
games
series.
are phenomenal. But I think if we're more conservative with our spin-offs is for the better. It's difficult for me to get into spin-offs. But if I have to pick one, I'm going to say Kirby.
Yeah.
I just think that Kirby is really cute, and I just really like him.
He does have several spin-off
and he has a few
games, though.
spin-offs, and I think that he could use more, because Kirby's one of those things where I'm just like, if they release 4 Kirby games and I do not play any of them, I just am kind of happy a Kirby game's coming out, because he's really cute and I just really like him.
Kirby the Fighters is legit good.
I need to play it.
Yeah.
Sorry for the long-winded answer.
You're good.
But that's my
You're
answer.
good. I like long-winded answers. Speaking of, Ty, what's your... No, I'm just kidding.
I think a good spinoff basically just needs to justify why it is a spinoff. Obviously, it needs to be a good game, like well made.
Sure.
However, a good spinoff takes some of the core concepts from the series that it's spinning off from and adapts them into this very different kind of environment. A good example is like Mario Kart brought in something that was at the time kind of unusual for kart racers, the like itemization. Mario has mushrooms, and he gets like in his
made it
power
a party
ups,
game,
and they brought that forward into it. I wish there were more like Zelda spinoffs. I think The Legend of Zelda has a lot of spinoff potential, but the ones that they do have that I'll talk about are games like Hyrule Warriors, which brings the kind of Zelda itemization techniques from that game into a Warriors setting.
Yeah.
And you're in both the Hyrule Warriors games, you're using items to like find new paths around the map and stuff. And then Cadence of Hyrule, which takes this excellent game, Crypt of the Necrodancer, and then brings in a Zelda style like exploration field.
Yeah.
And so they're pulling things from the core series and adapting them into a different style, right? And I think that is fundamental, because if you just do a spinoff and it's just it's Sonic the Hedgehog, but now he's in space and like,
with
or
the
he's
Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah,
A game which is actually pretty good.
yeah, it's pretty good.
In case you're wondering.
If you just take a story and setting of a game and plop it into a different genre, and it is other than visually unfamiliar, it feels to me very unsatisfying as a spinoff, right? Spinoffs are good when they don't have to feel like the game they're spinning off from. I don't think Hyrule Warriors necessarily feels like a Zelda game.
Yeah.
But
it feels like a good game.
It's a good game,
right?
And there are these core like Zelda elements. Obviously it loses the exploration element, which is a huge element for Zelda. So you can ditch certain things, but it brings a lot of stuff with it, right? Bosses have like puzzle elements to them. I would actually say that like Hyrule Warriors and Cadence of Hyrule take the opposite things from Zelda and bring them over.
Yeah.
Right? Like Hyrule Warriors is very focused around like puzzles and items, and Cadence of Hyrule is very focused on exploration and different kinds of puzzle solving. And both are examples of great spin-offs.
Yeah.
I think that the other thing though that I do have to say is that like a good spin-off needs to be from a series that, and this is to Quinn's point, that is worth at this point spinning off.
Yeah.
And that's not a comment on the series, because I love my favorite games are Metroid games, and that was the wrong franchise to spin off with Federation Force, because there hadn't been a new one in 10 years.
But it was
I wish that Federation
spin-off.
Force had delivered a
Yeah.
little bit better than it did.
Well, but
But-
I think Federation Force would have been received okay, just as a decent game.
If we had
But it was 10 years.
that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
And so you have to pick your franchise very carefully as well.
But
I'm sorry.
But
Actually,
for the viewers, give
yeah.
them why Federation Force failed, but Metroid Prime Pinball is fantastic.
is the single best game that's ever
might
been
be
made.
might be the best game in the series.
It's better than Sonic Pinball. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that, because the only good Sonic game is Dark Brotherhood, which is pretty good.
It's called Sonic
pretty good.
Spinball, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're right.
I was-
No,
Not gonna
well,
let that
Metroid
slide.
Prime
Not
Pinball
gonna let
succeeds
slide.
because Morph Ball, and it's just a great pinball
Morph Ball
game.
is cool.
It is a good
So,
pinball
well, I actually
You said
Ty,
Mega Man Prime.
Mega Man Prime.
Yeah.
I would like to just say, Ty, your answer has inspired me, and I actually should tack on, while Kirby is still my answer, I'm giving a second one, which is Metroid, because once again,
Yeah.
I will simply accept, I am literally, I will take the soylent slop that they slide in down my feeding tube when it comes to Metroid,
Fair enough.
because we've been
Now Metroid's in a
We've
good
been-
position for a spinoff.
Yeah, true.
The Metroid fans at this table, all three of them,
Hey.
have been tortured. We've been tortured. The only people that have been tortured worse are the Donkey Kong fans.
Correct.
The three
Okay.
of them at this table.
And the three of them at this table,
Mm.
the have been tortured. So Metroid, I would also like to see more
Yeah.
spinoffs of, because
Sure.
Federation Force,
Could've
it's
been
a
great.
it's
Could have been great.
It's a
It's
big
not bad.
tease.
I like
It's
it.
fine.
But
I like
it's pretty fun actually.
Yeah, it's fun.
The game's
You
pretty
heard
fun.
it here first. We want Federation Force.
More
2.
Federation Force.
More Federation Force.
Federation Force 2.
Regular size
Okay.
Marines, make it M-rated.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure, why not?
I don't
Why
care.
not?
Yeah,
Why
why
not?
not? Okay.
So what else makes a good?
Yeah.
I-
Oh,
is that- is
that's
that-
it.
That's it. He literally
That's it?
answered
Yeah.
the
What's-
whole question.
So, I take issue with your premise.
Oh.
I
Oh my
find it
God.
crass.
Are you
No,
trying to
I
say?
see.
Are you trying to say?
You are a Zelda
'cause I
fan, so
don't-
yeah.
Wait.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
count any of the things you mentioned as spinoffs.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Are you trying to say that you didn't take it far enough?
You
Yeah.
didn't take it far enough.
Yeah.
You're falling into my trap by asking your own question I didn't know about.
Falling
Falling
know
into my
about,
trap,
right.
Wokey.
Okay.
I know you're solid.
I
right?
am going to generously extend my concept of
Okay.
Spin-off?
to include you, because
Do it.
what you're saying,
The
because
ball's in your
I
court.
see mascot games as like their own thing. Mario's like, I jump on Koopa Troopa's heads and I grab a flag and I fight a big turtle to save a princess in a side-scrolling platformer.
That's
I'm going
Mario.
to spin off into a game where I drive a Mario Kart around.
Right.
And he gets in his Mario Kart and he drives it around with that big lizard that he just killed.
Yeah.
With an axe
Mhm.
in lava.
Yeah.
That isn't a spin-off. That's a mascot playing a different
In
game.
lava.
Right? Like, and then
Uh-huh.
we're gonna go play
Right.
tennis. That's a completely different game with the mascots from the same game.
Okay.
That's a kind of spin-off.
sure.
That's a mascot spin-off. And I think the thing with that is that you have to find, well, it's like what you
Like
said.
Princess Peach Showtime is a Mario spinoff.
Yes.
Is what you're saying. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
sure.
it's a spin-off because it uses elements from the original in this new creative direction.
Luigi's Mansion is a spinoff.
It's kind of a spin-off of the mansion stage from like the Mario
ghost houses
the,
from
the
World.
hotel.
Yeah.
The ghost houses from the old games and the hotel from Sunshine. Luigi's Mansion very much feels like a spin-off. Like
It's
it's
before Sunshine.
yeah, but it feels similar to the ghost
sure.
houses. They evolved
Sure.
into that, and then Luigi's Mansion got. But with the mascot games, which are a type of spin-off,
Yeah.
I think that like the thing Ty was saying is that like they have to have an element that makes it kind of recognizable. Mario comes along and it's like the thing that Mario Kart has. The only thing it has in common with the rest of the Mario series, if we're making them all polygon characters, is items. And that was especially in the
Sure.
day and age, that was super unique. Like
Yeah.
we had like F-Zero style racing games where it's
Mhm.
about throttle and like brakes and stuff, and that's there but minimized. Items are maximized.
Yeah, way
right?
slower. Yeah.
So for the mascot games, you gotta take these elements that combine the visual and a little bit of the gameplay as much as you can reasonably
Yeah,
and
yeah.
combine them. Like it's kind of the reason that like other mascot games kind of fail. Like I'm sure I'm gonna get like obliterated for this, but like Sega Team Racing has like items like a big punching bag, boxing glove that shoots off, and I'm like, what is this from? What
kind of goofy.
It's a red shell.
Generic, yeah.
It's
When
a red
did
shell.
Sonic use a big boxing glove?
I don't like.
It's-
I don't know enough about.
Yeah, what is
Sonic
that from?
All-Stars Racing, yeah.
When Dr. Robotnik in the great game Sonic Adventure 2 gets in melee range of an enemy, a boxing glove comes out and punches
That
him.
That's what it
iconic,
is.
his
Clearly,
iconic
that's
boxing
what
glove
it
that he
is.
used
Yeah.
one time.
For other games, I feel like a really good remake is when a game series has gotten to a point
You mean spin-off?
where a good spinoff. Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
You're good.
When a game series has gotten to a point where there is a direction it could go in that would too radically change it, and you would lose the original. But there's some interesting thing to pull on, and if you don't pull on it and see where it goes, you're missing out. And so I agree that like sometimes there are too many remakes that are like spin-offs where it doesn't quite make sense why they're spinning off this, or they like spin it off too close.
Right.
I think the game series I want to see more spin-offs of is Fire Emblem. Because Fire Emblem has gotten to this point where it's like, yeah, we have these really interesting 3D models, and we have like a really interesting skill system and a really interesting way of developing characters. And then we're on a grid controlling them like chess pieces, which is fundamental to the game, but it would be really cool to have a Battlefield style game. We got Warriors, and I really like the Warriors game.
spin-off, yeah.
It's a good spin-off, but it's Warriors didn't adopt enough. So where like Zelda kind of feels like they found that nice balance of like it's a Warriors game with like Zelda sensibilities, Fire Emblem should have felt way more tactical.
Yeah.
And yet the Warriors game didn't really have any tactics the Zelda one. You can still just command your 4 units around the battlefield. Type advantage doesn't really come that strongly into play. It does, but not that
Especially
strong.
in the second Fire Emblem Warriors game, the type advantages are
Type
all
advantages
As
there.
we're talking
It's-
about, those games are technically crossovers, not
Yeah.
spin-offs. Yeah.
Right. And so it's like
'Cause it's
Fire
two games
Emblems would
becoming
need
one.
Fire Emblem would need like a game that takes the game into an action strategy, but that would have to be a spinoff because the classic turn-based strategy is a completely different idea that's very close. You would use a lot of the same elements, weapons and character types and all sorts of stuff. The stats basically could all be transferred over, but it's just how you would play it would change so drastically that warrants a spinoff. It would be kind of like, I have always wondered what it would be like to remake Path of Radiance, but you run around as the character, swinging your swords, and it's got multiplayer, and like it's all real time, but still has strategy elements. It's like, I wouldn't want to replace Fire Emblem with an action game, but I'd like to see them explore it. So anytime there's a part that they can explore with a spinoff, that's when I'm like, oh, they've nailed something. If it's a mascot spinoff, right, they're going to go play tennis or drive a kart. It's about taking one or two, usually just one or two elements, and then finding a way to creatively put them in so that it like is just whimsically like whimsical similarities, right? Little item boxes in a racing game, right? And it's like, that makes Mario work.
Yeah.
What's a good example of the kind of spinoff that you're talking about, where a game series is like maybe going in a bit of a different direction, and so they kind of
your Puritan spinoff.
spin off into it?
Actually, in a weird way, I actually think the Mario RPG series kind of is.
Really?
How is that not
It
mascot?
doesn't.
But isn't that a mascot
doesn't
game?
because the original Mario RPG series, not the Square Enix one, which I think is
you mean
I mean like this Mario Luigi series.
the Mario and Luigi series.
It's so simplified of an RPG that it kind of does have like you're going to jump on enemies.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to bounce on their
Yes,
heads the way you do in a Mario game, but you're going to do it in like this 2D environment. And then you're going to dodge attacks by jumping. It's an RPG where you're not supposed to take a hit. That's not a thing
Or
in
you
RPGs.
can not take a hit.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be dodging
I
all of
actually-
this in an RPG. It's like,
Yeah.
you look at the old Mario and you're like, you remember when you played the really old Marios, on like the NES or on the Game Boy, and some of the bosses had a certain amount of fireballs they could take before they died, and it was like, oh, I got to get to the boss, and then I got to not take a hit, and then I got to stand on one corner where Bowser's on the other shooting fireballs, and I've got to jump and duck to time it while throwing fireball. You're playing Mario RPG. You're playing Mario and Luigi.
Oh, true.
And it's like,
sure.
I played that and I was like, oh, I know he's got this much HP. He's got 7. I played an RPG at the time.
You know how
but I
many
knew he had
fireballs he can take.
17 points of HP at this certain castle.
17.
And he takes
Right,
17 fireballs, and the only way I can not take a hit is by jumping and ducking. And then you go, if you take that idea,
that's really interesting.
Yeah,
you take that idea and you run with it, you go, what if the Goombas were that way?
Yeah, what if everything was that way?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good
interesting
point.
because I
But
mean,
you can't explore it if you had to erase Mario. If you
Right.
had to be like,
Yes.
well, the next mainline Mario should have this. It's like, wait a minute.
well,
no.
That's an element of Mario. but
It
it's
makes
not
me
all.
think about
They're
released
doing what Final
they-
Fantasy did.
they
where
released
released
a-
Devil May Cry.
Well, they
Yeah,
released
right.
a game on Steam that is basically just Paper Mario,
Bug Fables.
Bug Fables,
Bug Snacks.
and Bug Fables is very well liked and all those
Yeah,
kinds of
it's a
things.
very good
and
game.
I haven't played it. I've heard good things about it.
It does
Uh,
stuff to separate itself out from Paper Mario too, as
But-
like different.
The thing is that Paper Mario, in contrast to your point, I don't think that that Paper Mario needs to be Mario,
No,
or that it
not necessarily.
that it brings Mario elements so distinct to Mario that it is a Mario game, separate from it being a mascot
Its
game.
platforming is very Mario. Like
I was
it is very
over- Overworld,
But to your
but-
point, they start off by handing him a hammer, a thing he's never
that he does not
yeah.
use, right?
But he still
And-
jumps
but-
on guys'
But
heads.
what
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say
yeah.
my contrast is that I think a mascot game is okay if the game is really, really good. But I totally understand your point of if you're gonna make it a Mario game, maybe do everything you can to make it distinctly Mario.
I was gonna say, just as like my end thought, is that I agree very much with what you guys are all saying, especially Ty, is that like a truly good spin-off is summarized very well in the Mario RPG pantheon that we've had well emphasized from November 2023 to November 2024. No, is that like instead of like don't take the original game and make it like an icing that goes on top of it. Grab the essence of it and then bake it into it so that it's in every bite. You know, that it's in every aspect of it. I think the original Super Mario RPG, because I have the controversial opinion that of the 3 series, Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario, and Mario and Luigi, I think Mario and Luigi is the best series. And the reason I think that is because like Super Mario RPG, phenomenal game, legendary, one of a kind, but it is more of like a Final Fantasy game, or Dragon Quest, because like you time your attacks and they're fun to time, but that's, you know, Final Fantasy VIII does something very similar where you time your attacks. Paper Mario is really good, but a little more like the original Paper Mario might be my favorite RPG, but it's a little more like esoteric to that style, like the paper style. It's a very unique kind of, like Quentin said, you when you take Mario out with games like Born of Bread and Bugtail or Bug Fables, it still works. It still works really well. But Mario and Luigi is so like the fact that
I would
one
say the
button,
Bug Fable though wouldn't exist if Paper Mario hadn't taken Mario elements and brought them to RPGs first, though.
No, all I mean
Because
is
they're clearly
that when
inspired.
you
So you
make
needed
it,
Mario.
Yeah, when you make it, but like Mario and Luigi is like Mario's the A button, Luigi's the B button.
Yeah.
You know, they have like an Italian gibberish that they shout at each other and other people. And like I'm like, there it is. There's the you've baked Mario down. Like RPGs have party members. So Super Mario RPG had party members. You know, so did the first 2 Paper Mario games. Mario and Luigi go, no, your party is Mario and Luigi. And it's not, and when you go out to the overworld, it's not one character representing all the characters. No, you have to push A and then B if you want Luigi to jump. And so it's like, that's Mario. Like they've taken Mario and he's not, I'm not trying to say that Super Mario RPG or Paper Mario is just icing. That it is baked in, but I feel like they nailed the formula of making Mario into an RPG with the Mario and Luigi.
I mean,
delineate between the two is that I feel like one is a little more of a mascot game where like Square Enix uses the mascots of Mario to make an RPG.
Which I don't think
I
is a
mean,
bad thing.
It's not a bad
Yeah,
thing at all.
no.
It's great, yeah. And they have like items the same way, and they have like a little bit of platforming. But then Mario and Luigi, like you play it, and there's
Very
like
Mario.
something clicking about it being just Mario.
That's a
and
good
Luigi.
point.
Well,
Yeah.
I wish that you had mentioned my most important point, which was no more Metal Gear Solid, MGS 5, Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, Ultra Vox, Big Boss is literally me.
Yeah.
I wish you had mentioned that.
Me
instead.
IRL. Yeah.
I wish you had mentioned that about my point instead.
Ty,
but
take
all right.
us home and close out topic of the week.
You guys ready
We're
I'm
not
so
ready.
ready.
for
It's
our
so late.
latest game?
Yeah.
Oh.
My segment's a game.
Oh my
Really?
God! His topic
yeah,
of the
my
week is
topic
not a
of the week
topic,
is a
but
game.
it's
You guys
rather a
ready for
game.
this?
Yes, I'm ready for the game.
Give it its name so I can
call
make a
it
bumper.
2-minute pitch.
2-minute pitch.
All right, here's what's going to happen. We're going to go around the table multiple times. There are no points in this game because they don't matter.
Right.
We're going to go around the table multiple times, and you just have to pitch a game, but you've only got 2 minutes.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Who goes first?
Quentin.
All right.
All right.
My
You guys
pitch.
ready? And Go.
We picked the games.
yeah, no, it has to be just a completely original idea.
Okay.
Pitch me an original idea
All right.
Okay.
for a game.
All right. Are
Ready?
you ready for this?
2 minutes.
Yeah.
My
Go.
pitch is
God.
for a game called Metal Gear Solid Spinoff. It is a spinoff for Metal Gear Solid, the hit game series. All right, Duran, Ultravox, they're all gonna be there. Invisible, Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, Billy Idol, Rebel Yell, all of it. It will be in the game. President George Sears, the real-life president of the United States right now, will be featured as a character
So
who
kooky
only
to have him in
does
the
the
game.
right things.
Yeah.
He will do a terror attack that was staged on New York, and it will be his fault, but it will actually be for a good reason, it turns out.
Oh.
It's for the greater good. Somehow, that's the game's story, is all about how George Sears is correct for doing all of that, and it was fine, and we liked it that he did that. All right, the next thing is that the protagonist will be an exceptionally gender-ambiguous, wide-hipped, really attractive guy. He will be naked in the game, all right? He is blonde and beautiful. At one point, his hair will catch on fire. He'll be bald. He will be ugly at that point,
60 seconds.
but he will still be a wide-hipped honey man. Now, the main thing about the game is that you sneak. You sneak, but there's also base building. There is also an invisible woman. You cannot see her, but she is a character. She also is deaf and mute, right? And so she can't talk, right?
I like how the funniest part about everything.
Don't interrupt my pitch.
Please
she
go
is
ahead.
mute and deaf, and she cannot talk. She is also invisible. There is a man. He's a burger man. He makes burgers, and he helps you sneak around. He has no legs. He has one arm, but then in all the art, he's going to have his legs and his arm. He's not okay with child soldiers, except occasionally as a treat. Okay. He's really cool. You have to play a sneaking game.
Give him an extra 10 seconds.
You have to play a sneaking game while going through the trials of finding out that your e-girl doesn't really love you and is in fact an AI.
All right, that was
Beautiful.
Quinn's 2-minute pitch.
Pretty great.
That
Pretty great.
Yeah, I'd play it.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a great game, doesn't
like
it?
like 8.
Yeah, it's like an 8 out of 10. Okay,
You get
yeah,
8
yeah.
points.
I think it's a good one.
I said there were no points, but that was a lie and a trap.
All right.
All
who's
right,
next?
Devin,
Good.
you ready? We're just
Oh,
gonna
I'm
go
ready.
around
Okay.
the table.
Dude,
All right.
Pitch is a game.
It can be from a series that currently exists.
Just don't do what Quentin
Don't do
did
it,
and
yeah.
just summarize Metal Gear Solid
No.
2.
Listen,
No.
I said all sorts of
I
things
wouldn't know
from
how.
different Metal
You
Gear
did,
Solid
that's
games.
I wouldn't know how.
Sir,
That's true.
in my spin-off.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Pitch me.
We need more Mario spin-offs.
All right.
Oh my god.
Now I have an idea. Here's the Mario approach to survival crafter.
Yeah.
It's called Mario Campgrounds. Mario and Luigi go camping, or Mario and whoever your friends go camping.
Right.
And it's a similar idea to survival crafters, in the sense that like Mario has to carry around. You ever notice that like Minecraft Steve just has an empty void that he throws whole logs into and like just is still running around like crazy? If you have a big open world where it's like Mario, Mario needs to jump, but he can't because he's carrying big logs and everything in a big backpack. I'm using the Captain Toad logic of, for some reason, Toad can't jump because he's got a big backpack on. It's the same thing.
That's what happens to me when I put on a big backpack.
Yeah, I literally can't move.
I can't jump.
Yeah, I can't jump. I can't leap off the ground. No, yeah, so that's Mario campgrounds. You have to set up little campgrounds, and then at night, the Koopas and stuff that are walking around turn into dry bones, and like boos come out. You have to hide at night. The thing that I would do to separate it out from is I would focus less on building. Who wants to build? Creative mode doesn't exist in Minecraft. And focus more on like actual like amusement park ride challenges that you have to overcome that you and your friends encounter. And then the fun would be randomizing those in a world. That's the random generation. The world would also be randomly generated. And Mario's already just full of blocks. Like imagine that, and then you could create challenges, Mario Maker style. You could create challenges in your friends. I can't decide if it should be first person or third. It's Mario, so I'm leaning towards third. But it's Mario Campgrounds, so I'm leaning towards first.
I still don't know why they're going camping.
Why does Mario do anything?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why does Mario...
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't use all of your time. 0 points.
You actually cut me short. I said I don't need.
Yeah, you did.
That was the cue to
I
cut
can't
you
believe you
short.
pitched the Mario Survival Crafter you were talking about earlier. That's fascinating.
He set us
All right.
up and then he knocked us down.
I'm going to go, and I haven't been thinking about this game
but wait,
at all.
my points.
You got a 0. He literally
you got a
just said you got a 0.
I just got a 0.
Yeah, you got a
That
0.
was serious.
How about
Don't worry, they don't.
I give it
son.
a 7 out of
Everybody
10 because
gets-
it launched
wait,
with
we're
too many
all-
glitches.
Wait.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I should have done a beta test.
You should have done a beta test. Real huge mistake.
I'm also giving you a 0 out of 10 only because I already didn't listen to the rules about it being an original project, and Ty said not to do it again, and then you did it again. So you get 0 out of points.
No,
for
that isn't original. That's not. I didn't just summarize the game.
No, I didn't either.
I did say don't.
Yes,
I
you
did
did.
I
specifically
didn't
say
either.
don't do what Quinn did, and you didn't. So,
But
So-
you
you
did.
know what? I'm reversing it. You get 11 points.
Oh my God! I was saying you used a
Get
pre-existing franchise, which you said
scrubbed.
not to do,
All right.
and also I didn't just summarize too. I combined.
You summarized multiple.
I put a bunch of
Wait
stuff
till next
into one,
week when I
but,
have another Mario spin-off.
but,
I'm chock.
All right, Ty, go.
You ready? All right, here you go. This game is it's called Abduction, and
Oh
you
my
play as an alien, right?
Okay.
And you,
Oh, I was about to say.
no, not a.
Yeah. Oh my
and
God.
you-
Bleep. There's the bleep.
I know what my game's
All right.
about.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So you play as an alien. You go
Okay.
around and you it's a little bit like Hitman, except that you're flying over like cities, and you're, instead of looking for people to like kill, you're looking for guys to abduct, but you
Okay.
can't do it where anyone can see, and then
Right.
you have to do things to them that no one will believe, right? Your objective is to be as unbelievable as possible, and so you get to like dress up in all kinds of silly like costumes on board your ship, and you abduct various
Okay.
players. It has asymmetric multiplayer where one player plays as a person just like walking around, and their job is to make it difficult for you, and maybe you got multiple people on the ground, to abduct them without anyone else seeing. And then you have to find like weird things to do to them that no one else is going to believe, even the other like human players, right? And so, you get the probes and stuff, and then they have to, and then there is a liar amongst the human players whose job it is, he's like a conspiracy theorist, and his job is like to make people believe he was abducted but he wasn't really. And then the players like vote for him, and if they vote the wrong guy, they all get thrown into the Soylent Green machine in your in your spaceship and turned into little meat cubes. And meat cubes are an item you can use. You can feed to people when they get abducted. And so, yeah, it's called Abduction. It's a game not about creeps and vans. It's a game about aliens.
Yeah.
And you abduct people. And it has asymmetric multiplayer. It is released exclusively for the Nintendo Wii U.
I just want to
Amazing.
say, after all the little nuances of what you just said, I am so glad you said that game was not about.
Yeah.
Because good God, the more you
The
talk
sequel
about it,
is.
I was
I
gonna say
really thought Ty was setting us up. He's like, it's like Hitman, except you're a
I really thought you. And then after your pitch, there are so many things in there that
You got to make it unbelievable.
that are like you could just say because you say like, oh, he's dressing up like in crazy costumes in a spaceship. It's like if you had said his filthy white van, it would be no different.
That's the
I'm
number one mod for
I am
abduction.
so glad that you didn't go there.
Abduction.
Okay, that was really something. Ethan,
all right,
Alrighty.
200
Funny
points
because
for
mine's
me.
going to be a little bit like Hitman 2.
200 points for me.
I gotta say yes because you didn't do that. I'm gonna give you a full 10.
Just the fact that it's about
Thank you
aliens.
for making
Yeah,
about
good
alien
job.
abductions. Okay,
All right.
Ethan,
Ready? Here we
close it
go.
out.
2-minute pitch. Close us out.
My game is called Terminal Fortune.
Oh.
Terminal
And
Fortune.
so the idea is that you are a hitman who's very unsuccessful at his job, but then one day he finds out that the girl that he's dating is one of the fortunes from ancient Greece. You know, saw everybody's futures,
Oh, okay.
and that all of these like people who have like murder contracts on them are fated to die monkey's paw style. Like they can't avoid their death. They will die on this day somehow.
Okay.
And so the whole game is not about killing them, but about making it seem plausible that you did.
Oh, so you can
Before
make money.
fate gets them, because you can't kill them. No matter what you do, your actions never kill this person. They die because fate has decided they die on this day. Your whole job is to try and trick someone who wants to kill them into thinking you were the one that did it. But
So you
you
can get the
couldn't have
money.
been the one that did it. Like you can set
Right.
it up to where like you just switch out their heart medication, right?
Mm-hmm.
To make them have to make them go into cardiac arrest. But then an intern messes up a different medication and they die of a seizure. And you just have to try and convince everyone like, hey, it was actually me. I switched medicines on him. And that's a pretty convincing story, right? Or,
that's really funny.
like you remove the building code from a place and then a brick falls on their head. And you're like, see, I removed the building code. Now that was after the inspectors had left, but you have to backdate it to make like you did it months ago.
Ah.
So they think that you were the one who killed them, even though you were not. You cannot. No matter what you do, if you get a gun, run straight to them and go to shoot them, a bus will hit them before you do.
Right, there's
And then
always
that's not
something.
plausible.
He pulls the trigger. He's like in
Yeah.
a house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bus
just
just
bus
got
goes right through
Joker
you.
style. Yeah, so no matter what you
Uh-huh.
do, you can't kill them. You just have to convince your client
Okay.
that you did.
Wow,
That's a
pretty
fantastic
That is
idea.
I love it.
pretty
What'd you say it was
Fantastic
called?
idea.
It's called Terminal Fortune.
Terminal
All right.
Fortune. I love it. All right,
great.
let's drag Michael B
Michael
into
B,
this.
get
Michael
in
B,
here.
you got 2 minutes. Pitch me a game.
You have 2 minutes. Pitch a game and go.
I don't know what the title would be, but it's like Sims. It's like city skylines. You know,
Mhm.
like all the little characters.
Sim
running
City.
around.
Okay.
But you play as an AI chat box that everyone in the city uses,
Okay.
and so. It could be, one of the citizens will want to use you, so it could be like a little boy writing a paper for his English
Mhm.
class. You have to write his paper, and
Okay.
you can decide whether or not you fail or not, and whether or not that kid gets to go on, move up to the next grade, yada yada yada. A guy wants to have a job as an electrician, so you have to write his application. You decide whether or not he gets the job or not, depending on how good it is. And then,
Okay.
the president doesn't know what to say for his speech.
Oh my
You can
god.
start a war.
He can start a war. Entire lives could be ruined or gained, and we could have
I
a
love
perfect
this.
civilization or a horrible civilization because everyone's using you as a chat box.
Oh my god.
I love
That's
this,
a
and you didn't
That
even
is
need
a-
a minute.
In
You-
1 minute,
I was
you
gonna
did
say-
something
Need a minute.
really
He
good.
pitched
That's
like a
great
real
idea.
Really good.
Especially
he pitched like
if
a real
all
game.
of the
Yeah.
people you use an AI bot to generate them and what they're saying,
Yeah.
you're the bot writing the things for
That's
them.
kind of
Oh,
genius.
that would be
Everyone,
smart,
all the real
yeah.
people are AIs, and you're
Yeah,
a
yeah.
real person.
I may
That's
cut
kinda
it so
cool.
that
That's cool.
so that a developer doesn't watch this and go, "I'm stealing that."
I'm
I was
stealing
gonna say-
that
Or do
because it's a
steal it.
really
Or
good
do
idea.
steal it.
If you
Then
make a
it's
good
a really
game,
good
then we can
idea.
play it.
All right.
All right.
Great game.
That was
Great
fantastic.
power-up
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic
I
game.
want to try. I want to try and mix up the
Yeah,
sections
that was good.
into more than.
I love it.
Just like question
Well,
and answer
that-
stuff.
I love
That
it.
was my idea.
That's it, guys. Good
That's
job.
it. The
All right,
Power
y'all.
Up Club
Podcast.
podcast.
We
It's
might be
almost-
somewhere else
ending
next
by?
time.
That's our end.
Oh my
when we have a
God.
game, we'll end on the game.
Yeah.
And
So
Sometimes we might have multiple games.
next
so.
time you see
that
us,
was a very fast
we
one.
may not
that's
be
true. We should
in the
coordinate
morgue
that.
anymore.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
more
No
people
spoilers.
can make
Oh,
games.
I don't want to spoil
Lights.
anything.
No spoils.
But if
no
we're,
spoils.
but if we happen to not be in the morgue anymore,
Yeah, we're
not
getting out
saying
of
any
it.
confirmation.
We're getting that government money.
But if,
yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not
But
though. Yeah.
Thanks to George.
George.
because
Thanks, George
of George
Sears.
Sears,
George Sears finances
George
our podcast
Sears.
now.
George
because of
Sears.
George Sears
Yeah.
and his his generous stipend
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
He's our first Patreon subscriber before we had Patreon.
Yeah, I know.
And,
Pretty crazy.
Guys, thank you for watching.
Thank you for
If you're
watching.
still watching at this point, thank
Crazy.
you a lot. That's
If you're still
crazy.
watching for this point,
You need to be mad at the
put an
end.
emoji of a gazelle in the
don't
in
think they
the
have
if
combos.
that exists,
Put an
actually-
emoji.
I want
Actually,
an
no,
emoji.
I
No,
got
I
a
want an
great one.
emoji that
if
they
you're
can't
still
put.
here, put an emoji for each Star Fox guy. I want to see a fox. I want to see a bird. I want to
Yeah.
see a toad. I want to see a rabbit.
Yes.
Do it.
If you're a real fan, I'll see
I
that.
will come comment on it.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
come comment on it.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Michael B's
Bye,
waving. I
guys.
don't think anybody can see him.
Nobody
Like,
can see
goodbye.
him.
I don't think it's even
Goodbye.
on. Goodbye.